The Los Angeles Rams have already made some major announcements when it comes to their free agency moves. My name's Tyler, here with my brother Ryan, and we're going to help them out with the other free agency moves that they can make to help improve their team and maybe make a deeper playoff push come this fall. Before we get into it, be sure to hit that subscribe button, tackle that bell, and leave a like and a comment. Let us know what you want to see the Rams do this offseason. And now, Ryan, let's pull up their free agents here. Already a couple of guys here that Over the Cap hasn't updated yet, but they have signed that we'll address here in a second. Matt Stafford has already agreed to come back, and they've worked out an agreement as well. Who else here do you think on this free agency list are going to be some of the
Mhm.
guys that will end up coming back or will end up be looking for a new job?
Yeah, so I think Demarcus Robinson is an interesting name. Christian Roseboom, Akila Witherspoon, Bobby Brown, Tutu Atwell, Tyler Johnson. They have a lot of guys I think that you could really sit there and make a case for coming back. But unfortunately, that's just not how the NFL works. There are guys that will not be coming back. And honestly, let's just jump right into it. So one guy that I think Rams fans might be disappointed that they heard is already probably not coming back is going to be Cooper Kupp. So they probably will be trading Cooper Kupp this offseason. They've given him permission to go out and seek a trade. And so I think just the rise of Puka Nacua, the injuries that Cooper Kupp has been dealing with, I think the Rams are finally at a place where they feel like it's best for them to move on, and it's best for Cooper Kupp to move on. And so they will be hopefully getting some draft capital back for him. I don't think it'll be anything too much, just because I think there is some draft or like there's some draft capital involved, or there's a lot of money involved, so that usually knocks down draft capital. I don't even know if they'll get a fourth. They might be looking at like a fifth or a sixth for him, just because of his injury issues and the money that he will be bringing over.
Yeah, yeah. And so moving on then next to with that as well, Jonah Jackson, we believe, is going to be cut. Also, they are starting offensive line as right now, Alaric Jackson, Steve Avila, Bo Limmer, Kevin Dotson, and Rob Havenstein as well. There's just not really a spot for him. And so I think they can move on from him, maybe potentially trade him and clear up some cap space some other way. But I just that $14 million for a 6-man offensive line is just a lot to have on your roster. So I think that they'll end up moving some around for him as well. And the same thing with Dorius Williams also too. So he was the starter last year, yes, but it's not like it was good production either. I think they can go and draft somebody and or maybe pick up somebody that will be less expensive and at minimum get similar production out of them. And so I think the Rams are really going to focus on overhauling this secondary through the draft as well. But also there's a couple of moves that they might make in free agency, and that's pretty much it. They were coming into free agency with about 44 million in cap space as of this recording as well. And I will say, and that is to before, as we saw, Alaric Jackson was not included so far as his updated contract. But as of last night, as Ryan and I, we were prepping for this videos where we found out that Alaric Jackson did re-sign with the Rams for a 3-year, $57 million deal, $35 million guaranteed. So just for our sakes, because numbers are hard for us, we just divided that by 3. And so $19 million is going to be that estimated cap that's going to go to Alaric Jackson as right there. And I think another guy, too, that they are going to bring back is going to be Akilo Witherspoon. Between the two guys, between Witherspoon and also Williams, Witherspoon was the guy that was a little bit better as well. So I think you can go and get him, re-sign him for a couple-year deal at about $6 million per year. And I think just try and then just keep on improving the floor of that secondary room from there. They do have some decent safeties. Like I do like Cameron Curl. I think that was a great addition as well. And they're actually already, I'm sure they've re-signed him as well. But the same thing too, they've had third-year man Quentin Lake also. I think there's going to be some just constant improvement from there.
Well,
So if they can get some more lockdown secondary guys, combine that
Cameron
too.
Cameron Kitchens also in that safety room was really, really solid in his rookie season.
Yep, Cameron Kitchen as well. Yes, my apologies as well too. So that's where latest guy looks like he comes down and play nickel as well. Thank you for adding that also too. So as I mentioned, like so they got some good safeties as well. They need some better outside corners, and so I think Akilo Witherspoon can shift into a good number 2 role eventually. But with the and go and try and improve in a secondary room eventually. So thank you for that catch.
Yeah, and I just think it's a good signing there for both parties. Also, too, just to kind of round things off with the defense. So we did bring back Christian Roseboom on a just a 2-year, $6 million deal, and then also Tutu Atwell, keeping him around for a 3-year, $15 million deal with $5 million a year. So I think both of those guys coming back, I think makes a lot of sense for both sides. And looking forward to kind of seeing what what they're able to do in their continued time with the Rams. Let's switch over to the external free agents. So there's about $34.5 million left in external free agency. And so with the loss of Cooper Kupp, I think there's going to be a loss of some veteran presence in that wide receiver room. One thing too that I think is they're still going to need a number 2 guy next to Puka Nacua. Tutu Atwell is a great kind of complementary piece, but I don't think he's a number 2. I think at this stage in Amari Cooper's career, I think that this would be a really, really solid spot for him to come in and just take a 1-year, $13 million deal, go to a team with a really solid quarterback, and make a potential run at a Super Bowl. And I think he would be that kind of down the field threat for Puka Nacua, Tutu Atwell to kind of go underneath this tight end room as well. And so I feel like that's a good fit there for both parties.
Yeah, yeah, and that's Puka Nacua now is going to be becoming the guy overall at Los Angeles. He was already the guy, but to your point
Yeah.
though, I think Mari Cooper's best spot for a team is going to be this kind of role, that clear outside X role, and maybe just keep running go balls, and we'll hit you deep a couple of times. While Puka Nacua can be the guy that is doing it all, and then same thing with Tutu Atwell also. And so I think in kind of a similar realm as well on the opposite side of the ball, we talked about Akila Witherspoon also too in that secondary room. I think you can go get another veteran guy on a 1-year deal while you keep on continuing to kind of rebuild this secondary through the draft and through youth. But go and get Stephon Gilmore as well. He's still one of the better cornerbacks in the league. I know he's getting up there in age, and so Father Time's eventually going to catch up to him. But I think you go and put him across from Akila Witherspoon. That's an upgrade over Darius Williams as well. And even too, if you go look at this defense, they got to get a little bit younger at the linebacker position. We moved on from Troy Reader, as Omar Spates is going to be filling in that role at starter. So that's going to be good there. But if you can go look at it, really as right now, just the old guys so far are going to be those outside corners. Everything else is going to be relatively, not even just relatively young, really long, really young. Defensive line is super young, and it's going to be an absolute force to be reckoned with over these next 2 to 4 years with all these rookie contracts that they have. The safeties we've already mentioned as well with how good those guys are. So I think for the time being, find some stop gaps in these corners that can provide some good valuable minutes and can maybe even help grow and develop some of the younger corners that you draft. I think
Yeah.
will be good for the long run for this team. And so, because also too, as well, as we mentioned, with this defensive line with Jared Verse really stepping up, Braden Fisk is kind of the weak link as of right now. If you just go look at the starting lineup, and I think he can definitely improve overall from what last year. But Kobe Turner, Byron Young, as well, just what of defensive line that is going to spark the fear into many offensive line coaches and offensive coordinators, because they can
Oh
absolutely
yeah.
get after it.
Yeah, no, that defensive front was phenomenal. I think you add some more talented guys on the back end of that defense, even if you just give that defensive front a quarter of a second longer, I think that's going to equate to a lot more sacks and a lot more pressures for this team. So, all in all, I really like what the Rams have going for them. The restructure of Matthew Stafford to me kind of signifies that they're really going all in right now, and they have a little bit more cap space, I think, to work with to bring in some guys from their draft class, make some bottom of the roster moves, but they could also borrow some money from next year's cap, and because they have 121.5 million right now, and so I feel like they could borrow some money from that if they want to go make an even bigger splash this offseason as well. So all in
Yeah.
all, I like what the Rams are doing. Let's go ahead. Let's wrap up this video here. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. That is the best way to help out the channel. While you're down there, leave a comment on what you thought of this Rams mock free agency. Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you have done differently? None of that. We'll see you guys next time.